Falcon 9 is in startup.
Call out. Falcon 9's in startup. Flight computers are now running the Falcon 9. We're pressurizing the stages for flight, and we're waiting for the final go.
LD, go for launch.
With that, the SpaceX launch director has confirmed we're go for launch. So as we come up on T-minus 30 seconds, let's listen to the final countdown and watch as Falcon 9 takes our Starlink satellites and BlackSky satellites to orbit.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for flight.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff.
M1D propulsion is nominal.
Plus 40 seconds since the launch of Falcon 9. Propulsion is confirmed. Merlin's lift nominal. Power and telemetry are confirmed nominal from the avionics engineer. We're throttling down right now on the Merlin 1D engines. Preparing for supersonic and max Q.
Mach 1.
Got the call out for Mach 1. We have throttled the Merlins back up to full power. Next event will be maximum dynamic pressure. And there we are. We're going through the thickest portion of the atmosphere at the highest speeds. Now as we continue to accelerate Falcon 9, the air density gets thinner and the loads on the vehicle decrease. A minute 30 seconds, trajectory continues to look good.
Back dechill.
Back dechill indicates we're now beginning to bleed a little bit of liquid oxygen through the upper stage engine turbo pump to get it ready for ignition, coming up in just about 40 seconds from now. Nice view from the ground camera looking up the long plume coming out of the 9 Merlin 1D engines. Now, major event coming up will be main engine cutoff coming up at just after 2.5 minutes, called MECO. We shut off all the 9 engines. We'll separate the first stage from the second stage, and we will ignite the second stage engine called SES-1, the second stage engine start number 1. Beginning to throttle down.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
And we've got successful MVAC full power ignition. The view on the right shows the MVAC engine, the second stage now taking over, carrying the Starlink and BlackSky satellites to orbit. On the left screen, the first stage is continuing without power to coast to apogee, and you can see the large titanium grid fins beginning to open with the lights of the United States in the background as we slowly head up the eastern coast of America. Now, next coming up will be fairing separation. There's a view of the fairing, and we confirm fairing separation. So the Falcon 9 second stage continues at full power, carrying the Starlink and BlackSky satellites to the first of 2 orbits. The first stage is continuing to coast to apogee, and then it will begin to fall back to Earth, and eventually 2 burns to land on the drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. The trajectory right now continues to look right down the middle. Everything's looking good on Falcon 9. So as we come up on 4 minutes, we will remind you that we are attempting to catch and recover both ferrying halves now that they've separated on our recovery vessels Ms. Tree and Ms. Chief. If we make a successful catch, we'll try to bring you these views live. Otherwise, check our social media accounts for updates. Right now, 4 minutes, 20 seconds of the mission. All is going well.
In just about 20 seconds here, we will hear the call out for the start of the stage 1 entry burn. This burn will last 20 seconds. Again, it's a 3-engine burn that will slow the first stage down as it enters the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Heard confirmation of the stage 1 entry burn startup. You can see those backlit grid fins with those 3 engines burning there. Again, this burn lasts 20 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
We've had confirmation of successful stage 1 entry burn, and we're about a minute away from our landing burn.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Heard the call out for the start of stage 1 landing burn. You can see the clouds sort of lighting up there.
Starting internal guidance.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Wow, look at that stage 1 sitting on our drone ship. Of course, I still
Stage
love
1
you.
landing.
That was a beautiful view of the stage 1 as it came down there, lighting the clouds up. And in just about 10 seconds here, we'll have second engine cut off there right on your screen.
Seco.
We've had confirmation of
Expecting loss of signal, Cape.
second engine cutoff, and we're waiting for confirmation of good orbit out of this first burn here.
Nominal parking orbit insertion.
We're in a nominal orbit, and now we're about to enter a coast phase. We are now awaiting the second relight of our second stage engine at T plus 47 minutes and 23 seconds. And this is the shortest burn that we will do, lasting only about 3 seconds. We also just got an update on our fairing halves. We did not manage to catch them this time, but we'll keep trying. We're just about 10 seconds out from second engine startup 2, and this is the shortest burn that we'll do. It is the second of 2 burns, and it will put us in the proper orbits to deploy the BlackSky satellites and Starlink satellites.
Stage 2 ignition. And shutdown.
Wow, you can see a beautiful video of that second stage as it successfully started up and shut down, lasting only about 3 seconds there. There were some beautiful plumes coming off.
Nominal orbital insertion.
You heard the call out. We have nominal orbital insertion, and now that we are in a good orbit, we'll be coasting again for the next 15 minutes or so.
Global 7, deploy confirmed.
We've heard confirmation from the avionics engineer that Global 7, the first of the 2 BlackSky satellites, has successfully deployed. We're waiting to see if it might come into the field of view of the camera. This camera is mounted on what we call the payload attach fitting. It's a somewhat conical structure on the front of the second stage, and that's what the Starlink satellites are mounted on top of. That's the stack of satellites you see in the picture. And then at the very top are the 2 BlackSky satellites. And I think we're starting to get a view there. And right into the sunshine, or sun glare. Not sure yet if that's a reflection or... but I think we got a short view of it there, and then it's overpowered the field of view a little bit. Camera's still working though, so that's good.
Global 8 deploy confirmed.
And there it is, Global 8 deploy confirmed. The second of the 2 BlackSky satellites that are on top of the large stack that you see there. So we've got the first 2 out. There are 57 more to go. So right now, we've got, as I said, 2 BlackSky satellites on behalf of our customer spaceflight. Now that makes a total of 6 BlackSky satellites in the constellation. And we want to wish a bon voyage to the BlackSky satellites. It was our pleasure to give you a lift today into Earth orbit. Now, as I mentioned earlier, stage 2 is going to continue to coast in this orbit for another 24 minutes. Now, during this time, we will slowly spin the second stage along its central axis. As we come back to camera view, you may be able to tell it's fairly hard to see that we're spinning. It's very slow. But that will provide the stability that the Starlink satellites need as they space themselves out over time after they separate from the second stage. So with that, we're going to take another break right now. We'll leave you with the animation shows where we are in the coast phase, and we'll be back around T+1 hour and 32 minutes, a little under 24 minutes from now, for the deployment of our 57 Starlink satellites.
Starlink tension rod separation confirmed.
Heard the call out that we've had a successful deployment of our Starlink satellites. Oh, you can see the video just came back here of them floating away into space. To date now, we've sent 595 Starlink satellites into orbit. You can see on your screen there, the satellites are slowly separating from each other, and shortly they will deploy their solar arrays. Now, over the course of the next few days and weeks, these satellites will use their onboard ion thrusters to distance themselves from each other and enter their operational orbits.
Well, that brings our webcast to a close, and what a week it's been here at SpaceX. Just 4 days ago, we saw Crew Demo 2 successfully return home with NASA astronauts Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken. On Tuesday, Starship took flight at our South Texas location, and now we've capped it off with our 10th successful Starlink mission to date. As we watch the Starlinks drifting away, getting ready for their weekend, we'd like to thank you, our customer, Spaceflight, the Federal Aviation Administration for licensing the launch, and the 45th Space Wing and NASA Kennedy Space Center for their range support today. Now, if you're interested in future updates about Starlink launches, as well as general updates about future service availability, head over to starlink.com and sign up. As always, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next launch.